that separates us is what we've been taught to believe. But don't you be deceived. Oh yeah, we are one. We are one. We are one.
If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer.
In the voices of the children, in a language that we all understand.
How long will it take? Somebody's asking how long will prejudice blind the visions of men? I come to say to you this afternoon, however difficult the moment, however frustrating the hour, it will not be long, because truth crushed will rise again. How long? Not long. Because no lie can live forever. How long? Not long. Because you shall reap what you sow. How long? Not long. Who's forever on the scaffold, long forever on the throne. Yes, that scaffold sways the future. Behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. How long? Not long. Because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. How long? Not long. Because mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He's trampling out the village where the grapes of wrath are stored. He's loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah.
Spreaker's most informative talk show. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White, and joining me to talk about it and always helping to keep you informed is the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert, a.k.a. Miss Uppity Speaks. And joining Jackie and I all the way from Australia in a little bit will be our girl, Jillian, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar Anderson, all the way from down under. For real, she's calling from down under in Australia. And she will have her input of our, how do we say it, Jackie? Of our crazy political goings on in this country. She's going to give us an Aussie point of view. And then joining us all the way from Montreal, Canada, is my boy, our boy, Montreal's boy, Professor Walter Dubail. Jackie and I are always so impressed because he did his dissertation in French, and we were like, ooh, what? So Walter can talk this stuff with us. Now, he don't cuss like I do.
Nobody cusses like you do.
Nobody cusses like I do. Thank you, Jackie. and you're listening on the line to the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert right now. Jackie, hello, my darling. Say hello to the people.
Hello, sweetie.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I am just flabbergasted.
Are you? Well, I'm flabbergasted too. Let me make sure that the microphone is picking you up really, really good here. Okay, so go ahead. I think you're good now. I saw a little low, but it's getting there now. All right, good. Oh, and I see in the chat room that we have Barbara Dubail. This is Walter's wife, who always waits patiently, Jackie, as he joins the shows here at the Brenda White Shows and cut up with us. Barbara, we're so glad to have you. Or is that Walt perpetrating as his wife, Barbara? Walt, is that you perpetrating as Barbara? If it's not, Barbara, welcome. Okay, once again, you are joining us here. Let's talk about it, and we are delighted. We realized that you had another option, and you chose to be here with us and carry on our outrageous foolishness and goings on. But we're going to keep you informed because that's what we do, right, Jackie? Walt said it's both of them. Okay, so he ain't perpetrating as his wife, and we are delighted to hear that. Okay, Jackie, so it's going crazy here today. What can I say? Mississippi, goddamn. Oh wait, I lost Jackie, y'all. Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me play a little song here. Unless she calls me back real fast. I don't want y'all hearing me dial. I don't think it really matters, does it? Okay. I'm gonna just let y'all hear me dial her back up.
Phone in here on mute.
Okay. Let me see. I hear my sister Jeannie on the line, but I should be talking to Jackie. So I got somehow Jackie, are you there, Jackie? You know,
yeah, I'm here, but you dropped me.
Well, somehow I never hung up on you though. Somehow my little, this phone has a receiver on it, and the receiver gets itself all discombobulated sometimes when I start moving it around. But you're there. All right. So Jackie, all kinds of hell broke loose in Virginia this afternoon.
Look, B. Okay, well, you can. Okay, who do you want to start first?
Oh well, I'm gonna let you start with what you want to start with. I guess I can go. I always try to start off with my crazy. What do they call it? Monologue or something. But
yes.
Jackie, I forgot what the hell any monologue that I might have had. As I heard the news today.
Yes, breaking news.
Breaking news out of Virginia.
Yes, well, so today there are primary races going on in about 5 states, one of those being Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And the House Majority Leader, Eric Cantor, was running it. I beg your pardon?
I said yes.
Yes, Eric Cantor was running against some Tea Party guy.
Yes.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Cantor has just had the brakes beat off him.
Just got the brakes. I'm talking double-digit brakes beat off him, Jackie.
Oh, yeah.
This is...
I mean, what happened, look, Bren, I was finishing up dinner for my family, and I looked up at the clock, and I said, well, let me turn the TV on and see what Rachel's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so I turned the TV on, and, I saw the little masthead down below saying that Eric Cantor lost his primary. I was like, what?
Okay.
What? And my daughter and I are both going, what? What? That can't be right. And so I was thinking, well, look, it can't be that. It's 99% in, and he was double digits down. It's like, Lord have mercy.
Yes, Jackie, and I had been out all afternoon, and when I came in and turned on the TV as I had prepared me a little snack before I went on the air, it was like 89% or 85% of the vote in, and I didn't pay any attention, and then I thought, let me get a little closer, and of course, then I recognized Eric Cantor's face, and it was saying that he was losing the primary. Oh my God, look, I almost passed out.
I know, right?
This is stunning and breaking news, and we just had Steve Kornacki on Rachel Maddow, and he said that this is the most stunning political news in his professional career.
Yeah. Well, this is pretty amazing.
This is big, Jackie.
This is something that just doesn't happen because I never expected. I have been wanting Cantor to lose forever.
Yes. And look, and I know that Mitch McConnell is somewhere cleaning his drawers right about now.
Well, but Mitch McConnell, he did win his primary.
Yeah, but he's worried. Listen.
Of course he's worried.
He didn't face Allison Grimes in his primary.
Yeah, mean, and so the general election it's going to be interesting in Kentucky. But Brenda, you and I are political psychics, right?
That's right. That's right. We are.
What have we been saying since last year? That this is not going to be the way the Republicans think it's going to be.
No, it's not.
And I know everybody's been talking about, oh, yeah, the Republicans are going to beat the Democrats down and this and that. Brenda and I have already said no. And, for instance, in Alaska, their Democratic senator is running for re-election. And, Alaska is one of the reddest of the red states.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Well, they have this crazy Tea Party guy up there who has promised that if he loses the primary election, that he's going to go on the ballot as a write-in or an independent.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So that'll be a nice way to split the Republican vote.
Well, if the Republicans would just put us on the payroll, these things would not be shocking and breaking news to them. Because, see, this is what my strategy would have been all along. And Democrats, I need y'all to listen to me. Y'all the one need me and Jack on the payroll because we are political psychics. And we have never called this shit wrong. Now, here's what we're telling you. Here's our strategy. Let these Tea Party people go up against people like Eric Cantor, Mitch McConnell, Bozo the Clown, whatever.
Look at Thad Cochran in Mississippi. He's having to go into a runoff and spend more money, and
That's right.
I mean,
let John Boehner, let them have to face these Tea Party fools in the primary because these fools are bona fide and they're getting big dollars from the Koch brothers.
Yes.
The Koch brothers are sick of the Republicans. They won't do shit for them. So they are hitching their wagon to the Tea Party so-called star. And the Tea Party can win in their districts, in their states, but they cannot win this national thing.
Well, it's hard for Tea Partiers to win statewide.
That's right. When it's hard for them to win statewide.
Tea Partiers to win general elections unless they're in the red states, like in Utah and in Texas. But the thing about Texas too, the way that they do their elections in Texas, I'm telling you, I'm starting to think there's really something funky going on. I mean, I know that they have their voter suppression efforts and all that stuff, but
well, we found out yesterday that something funky is going on, Jackie. Where was that we really had some stink going on in Virginia?
Oh, that was in Hinds County, Mississippi.
That was in Virginia where the damn Democrat resigned.
Oh, yeah, that's another story. We'll get to that.
Yeah, this shit is going crazy. But let me tell you, Democrats, something. Y'all just stick by. Put your man up in the primaries here, and they're winning, and that's good. And then just wait and let these Republican and Tea Party fools fight it out. These Tea Party fools are beating these Republicans. This is great because when it comes to the general election, they are not going to win. They've already shown the nation. See, the nation was kind of they thought that these people were sincere and real. They didn't know they were damn fools when they let them win the Congress a few years back, Jackie. They did not know. Now they know what these fools will do. Not a damn thing. Just get up there and act crazy. They're not going to compromise. They're not going to work with Barack Obama. They're not going to work with the Republicans. It's their way or the highway. Cut all this shit off. See, I've never known anybody. See, I don't want to sleep with a man I don't like. Okay, well, here we go. I equate my political stuff to sex so that everybody understands
I want everybody to understand that she equates everything.
That's right.
Okay.
Cause folk get it.
Political stuff, but everything.
Birds do it, bees do it, even low down snakes do it. Okay, so that's why I equate my political talk to sex because everybody get it. I don't want to have sex with somebody I don't like. I don't want to even be with you. But these damn Tea Party fools, they pretended to like the Republicans until they got in there. And then they put...
may I just, may I interject a couple of things in here?
Yeah, is it, you sticking with my sexual theme?
No.
Oh.
I just want to clarify a couple of things.
Okay.
Okay. I want to clarify a couple of things you said about politics.
Okay.
So, Brenda was talking about the Tea Partiers and their performance in 2010, which, of course, was when the Congress was taken over by the Republicans, and that was largely based on the fact that the Democrats did not come out to vote.
Uh-huh.
All right? Democratic turnout was very low.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever somebody wins one of those elections that ends in a 0 year, then that means that that's when all the redistricting and things take place.
Uh-huh.
Because it goes in the cycle with the census, right?
Uh-huh.
So for Democrats to lose the election in 2010 was one of the worst things that could have happened.
Right.
Because one of the reasons that it is hard, really hard, to get to get the Republicans out of control of the House of Representatives is because the way that they have drawn these districts in all of these red states. Now, I learned something that I did not know tonight about Virginia. You recall last week I was talking about how California has open primaries. They have the same. They don't have exactly the same thing in Virginia, but in Virginia, what it means for an open primary is that it doesn't matter what your party affiliation is. You can vote for whomever you want. So you can vote in the Republican primary, or you can vote in the Democratic primary. Now, it is my understanding that one of the other things that may have helped Mr. Cantor lose tonight is Democrats crossing over to vote in the Republican primary.
Now, that's a good strategy, too, Jackie, to help these damn Tea Partiers win, because these Tea Party fools are crazy. They're going to be just like Todd Aiken.
Okay.
Once they win, they're filling their oats.
Slow your roll a minute, okay?
Okay.
I know whenever somebody...
You know I'm on fire, don't you, girl?
She just goes nuts. Okay.
Okay.
So, it is my understanding, and I just saw this from a local Politico in Virginia. Rachel Maddow said, Mr. Sabato, Rachel Maddow said to him that the turnout was really low, and he said, no, actually the turnout was really high. He's like, we just don't see this kind of turnout in Republican primary. And then he made the statement, but we do have open primaries. It's like, oh, Lord, the Democrats have thrown some stink in the game. Because, see, the Democrats...
Jackie, are you proud of them?
I'm really proud of them because the Democrats did not have... They only have one guy that they put up to run for Congress. And they didn't really expect very much because Eric Cantor had lots of money, and this is a heavily Republican district. But now, just like Brenda was saying, now they have this Tea Party guy, and even though this is a heavily Republican district, it may not be a heavy Tea Party district. And what I thought when I saw this about Eric Cantor losing is that, oh my God, the Republicans have started eating their own.
Eating their own. Jackie, I love it. And Jackie, if the Democrats did that and threw some stank in the game, I am so proud of them because, we're not generally low down and dirty like that.
Well, Brian, look,
I know they all know how to do it, but we don't generally do it. I mean, the Republicans,
I have to, sweetie, I'm sorry, I have to contradict you.
You believe that we do it more often than we see, Jackie?
Brenda, just let me say that some of the dirtiest tricks in politics have been pulled off by Democrats, okay?
Well,
maybe they're not, maybe Democrats are not as blatant as they used to be.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Well, that's good because...
Let me tell you, look, everybody knows how now.
Okay, now, I know now, I'm a Democrat to my toes, but I know that politics is dirty on either side, but the Republicans, them some bitches ain't got no shame. They will do. Since the election of Barack Obama, they have lost their minds now. No question about it. Oh yeah, they will do anything, and they ain't trying to hide it. They ain't got no shame in their game. They just do it like they did yesterday in Dadburn, Virginia. Now this cowardly lion, I don't know what to say about him, Jackie.
Oh, Brenda. I don't know what to say about him either.
This is
Bad.
the Democrats are pissed off in Virginia because Senator Lucas, she's one of the senators, Democratic senators in Virginia, a beautiful black woman, and she was on fire yesterday, and she said that they are so pissed because they gave that son of a bitch big dollars, something like $500,000. All the Democrats pitched in and gave to him to help him win that district.
Yes.
To win his campaign. And they said they were all in the meeting. They're talking about the strategy to get health care to over 400,000 Virginians. And this bastard was in the meeting with him. Walked his ass out of there. Ain't had shit to say. Didn't say, yo, Bob, I need to talk to y'all. Nothing. Brought his ass in the next day and resigned.
Uh-huh.
And they are talking about setting fire to his ass. And hanging his ass to the State House fence. Oh, my God. I don't blame him. I'd set fire to his ass, too. But that's amazing. Yeah, they. What do you say, Jackie? Every week we got somebody else to say, so now it's Virginia. Goddamn.
Yeah.
It's usually Mississippi and Alabama.
The thing about this story, though, too, B, is that when I first heard the story, the first thing that I thought is, that is really illegal.
It is. That's what I'm thinking, too. I mean, how can you offer him a job? You might as well just hand him the money cash on the floor.
Yeah, that is.
We want you to quit, and if you quit, your daughter will get this judgeship that you so want her to have, and we'll give you a job as the CEO for the backer, for the backer plantation or something. What in the hell?
Yeah.
And everybody's talking about this thing is real. Everybody is saying. One of the reporters from Virginia said that he had 3 sources call in and tell him that this thing is real. So I don't know what's going on, Jackie, but
well, Brenda, you know it's real because the guy canceled his interview with the Tobacco Board.
Okay.
It was supposed to be taking place really soon.
Right, and he claimed that he had.
And you know it's real because the Republicans are so vehemently denying it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Yes,
this is shit that gets you jail time.
Yeah, and so I understand that maybe the FBI or maybe their state attorney general is looking into it. The Justice Department decided that they weren't going to get involved, but they got enough on their hands. We want them to stay focused on this voting rights shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Virginia.
But this particular move is really, really bad.
Yeah, I think Virginia can take care of this rat by themselves.
Yeah, what the scuttlebutt is that there is going to be a government shutdown in Virginia.
Right.
Because, their spending authority runs out here within the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Democratic state senator that resigned is Philip P. Puckett.
Yeah, Mr. Puckett. Mr. Puckett just pucked up.
So, they were going to have a horrible fight anyway. But now it's going to be even worse.
Well, Jack, if he don't get this backer job, what's going to happen to him? Because who's going to want this rat working for them anyway?
Well, the man said that he was going to go back to his job. He works for a bank. He's a banker.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I was thinking to myself, if he's a banker, I mean, why does he want this tobacco commission job? Because I thought bankers got paid pretty well. Maybe he's not a very good banker. Maybe that's...
Yeah, maybe he's not a very good banker. Maybe he's just one of the little branches that only hold like $20,000. and he can't be swindling millions when his bank don't ever get much more than $20,000 every Friday. This reminds me of a story once that I had some trouble with this bank cashing a check that my husband had given me, and we had this check came from funds that we had made through our investments with the White Sox and whomever else the Chicago Tribune was involved with. But when my husband left that job as a sports writer, we had to take these funds that we made when he worked for this newspaper. We had to take that with us, you know. And so we got this money, and my husband split it down the middle and sent me a check, and he took a check. And every time my check came to the bank, they bounced it. Knowing that this money was good, it came from this trust fund, and they're giving me all this bullshit, or they're holding it for 12 days or whatever. Well, you know, I went inside the bank. When this check finally got back to my hands, it had been beat up so bad, Jackie, it looked like a piñata. But I took this check down to my branch bank, and I go in there and I demand to see the manager of that branch. And I go in there and I'm doing one of my Brenda White, you motherfuckers, you know, and you gonna cash this check right here, right now today. And so he's in a bind. He knows the money is there. He's got to cash the check. Okay, I'll give you another. No, I don't want another cashier's check from you. I want cash. Miss White, this check is for $11,000. We're just a small branch. We only get $20,000 here Friday. Well, you better call the truck, because you're going to need the truck, because we can't even give you that kind of money in cash. We'd have to get, I'll take nickels. I cut up real bad. So maybe he's at one of those branches like that, Jackie, that they ain't got enough to...
You know, Bertha, I just want to say that one of the most charming aspects of this show is that we talk about bakers, and then Brenda goes off on this whole story.
Yeah, but you see, I tell my Rachel Maddow story. I came right back to my perk. My perk was that he's at one of them little branches that don't hold no more than 20 grand. Hey, Jackie, you can't get rich like that, can you? Now, Jack, is that the job that he had? Okay, the Senate job paid him $18,000 a year. Well, he had to work 2 jobs. The bank job must not have been paying too good, Jackie.
Okay, may I just interject a factor too into this discussion?
And stop my outrageousness? Okay, go ahead. Y'all see how she cut me out? See, but you know I'm gonna get my fun in. I don't care about her interrupting me.
I know.
I'm gonna get my fun in. Go ahead, Jackie.
Most state legislatures do not meet year round. They only meet a couple of months a year. Okay, so if y'all didn't hear Jackie, she said that most state legislatures don't meet year round. They only meet a couple of times a year, and that's why his pay, couple of months a year, and that's why his pay is so low as $18,000 a year. Yeah, you know, the legislators in California and New York, they meet year round. Much to my, in California, is much to my chagrin. Our legislators don't need to be, because you know they talk about cutting the budget. Oh, well, I started the legislature.
Okay, Jackie.
Our legislature sometimes they just have too damn much time on their hands.
Okay.
And some of the shit they come up with is like, are y'all really voting on that? Are you really voting on that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something like changing the state flag. We get the frog off and put the wasp on. That's the kind of shit that they waste our time.
Exactly correct.
And waste our money.
Yeah, well, Mark Twain famously said that no man's liberty or property is safe while the legislature is in session.
I'm with Mark Twain on this. I like it. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so anyway, state legislatures, they should not be, you know, no. They they need to go up there, pass the budget. If there's a problem with one thing or another, adjust that, and then go on back to their regular job.
Yeah, and let me say this.
That if our state legislators had regular jobs, they'd be a lot better than they are. Okay. And we really don't give a... That's my thing. But that's my rant about state legislatures.
And let me just say this to y'all. We really don't give a damn about whether the flag got a frog or a wasp on it. And y'all need to quit wasting our time. But, Jackie, that's what our senators and congressmen in Washington been doing.
Yes.
The
well,
Republicans,
in
that's the
California,
bullshit.
Past week, our legislature recently passed a law about having sex on college campuses.
Having sex? Who did they see having sex on a college campus?
Well, see, apparently, some college somewhere in the middle of the country put these rules into effect about your sexual conduct on campus. And there's this whole thing of rules about how there must be consent basically before, during, and after your sexual encounter. I've been trying to figure out exactly how this is going to work. But,
Jackie, are you making this up just to make me fuss?
I am not making it up.
Where the hell did you
I am
read
not
this?
making this up.
Walt, did you read this? Walt, did you read this mess somewhere? What was it, Jackie? They wrote a law
Yes.
that you must consent before doing.
There must be explicit consent before before you have sex. While you're having sex. And after you have sex.
Alrighty
So,
then.
I guess that if, a young couple has sex and afterwards one party is satisfied.
And she want her sex
well,
back. What's she gonna do?
They aren't happy with the way the encounter went. You could be in trouble.
Jacket. So what's she gonna do? Give me my sex back. Give my loving back. Okay, Walt. I said I thought you were making up shit just to get me to go off. But Walt said...
No, I'm not making up shit to get you to go.
Walt said he read it. Policies in some universities. Walt, you and Jackie read too much. Y'all need to be having sex or something. Y'all wasting your time.
Brenda, Walt and I are both married to other people now. Cut it out.
No, I'm just saying y'all need to be having sex with your peoples. Then read this bullshit y'all telling me right about now. Now, Jackie, I'll go on a rant and start talking about back in 1912 when it used to be.
Don't do it. Don't you do it.
Well, I'm gonna have to fire you and Jackie and get somebody else. Y'all are reading bullshit here lately. Y'all got to do better than this now. I pay y'all a lot of money to come on this show and tell the people.
We appreciate it.
Tell the people something sensible. Okay, Jackie. So if they don't like it, then what did the law say? If both parties are not pleased.
It doesn't go into that, but what they're trying to do is eliminate date rape on campus. That's what they're trying to do.
How you gonna do that?
Right? I don't know.
Walt said he getting a headache.
Well, but this will give you a headache. But anyway, this passed the California Assembly last week, so we'll see what happens this week.
Okay, Walt, I want you to put this.
I think it's ridiculous.
Okay, Walt, I want you to put this in your thoughts process. Professor Walter Dubois is coming up at the 11 at the. Wait a minute, I'm getting my time. Okay, yeah, he's coming up at the 11:05 time, and he will go the last hour with us as well as Jillian Anderson. So, Jill, if you're listening. Walt, I know you're listening because he's in the chat room. I want you to put this in your thought process. And I want you to tell me what you would do to stop date rape. Do you think that this law is going to help that at all? I want you to think about this and act as though you were the president of the university and tell me what you would do. I know you're going to come up with something sensible, but this law, Jackie, I'm not feeling this.
Yeah, and this is based on some rules that were put into place on another university campus at some time.
What?
And so in California, they're trying to make this standard throughout the university system.
if you date rape somebody and they report it, and we go through the process and we find out that the woman or the man is telling the truth, then your ass just need to be put in jail. Why you got to write all these silly ass laws?
Exactly, and one of the things too that it's not going to do when there is an accusation of rape, if it is not, if you don't get beaten up and all that other stuff, it comes down to what you say happened and what he says happened. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you,
one of the things that makes it very difficult. And unless you have a guy on campus that is a serial rapist, it's really difficult. It is really difficult for young women.
And I want to say this to the young women: it is time for y'all. Also, now I agree totally that whether you wearing a dress up to your hoo-hoo or you're drunk as a skunk, nobody should rape you. But since we know that these bastards gonna do it anyway, it's time for y'all to start putting yourselves in a little more check, okay, girls? Well,
that's what I was about to
stop
say.
getting drunk as a skunk.
Before I went off to college, Brenda?
Yes, I'm listening, Jackie.
Okay. What I was about to say is before I went off to college, one of the things that my mother taught me is just not to get yourself in compromising situations.
Yeah, do your very best not to get yourself in the compromising situation,
so,
because we know that these bastards will rape you.
Yes. So you have to be, drinking too much? No. Getting in the car with a man you don't know?
No. We don't do that.
I was real funny about that. I had to get to know you before I would get in the car with you by myself.
Thank you very much.
Just the two of us.
And Jack and I never got...
For some women, I know that for some people, they think that that's probably too paranoid and too careful. But all I have to say is I do not have any ugly experiences from college.
Me either.
As far as sex goes.
Thank you.
Right.
And I never sat around and got myself drunk as a bunch of squirrels eating raw apples or something.
A bunch of squirrels so twisted.
Yeah, you just gotta. And again, we emphasize that you should not be raped, whether you drunk, laying out on the sidewalk naked. You should not be raped. But we know that these bastards will rape you, so you got to look out for yourselves a little bit more.
Because what a lot of young men are taught is to take advantage of the situation.
That's right.
That's what a lot of them are taught.
Mm-hmm. And
it's amazing to me how many people, how many men, I'll put it this way, do not see that as rape. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? So
yes.
This is one of those difference between men and women things.
Yeah, she wanted it. That hoe wanted it. She wanted it. Well, why was she fighting you?
That's one of the things that my husband laughs about so much about men. Oh yeah, she wants me. So
yeah.
That girl ain't even looking at you.
Okay, ain't even looking at you.
She wants you.
Didn't nobody want it but you. And so, we can say no all we want, but the reality is that these bastards will rape you, and you need to get yourselves a buddy. Never be walking alone on these big campuses, because these campuses now are the size of a city. And, you just need to start getting yourselves together and putting up a little more, getting your guard up a little bit more.
The difficulty on a college campus, too, is that on every campus, there comes a time where there's some rapist loose on campus. Mm-hmm. Okay? When I was in college, my freshman year, there was some guy raping the co-eds. Mm-hmm. Women coming from the library late at night or coming from the student union late at night or something like that on their way to their dorms. One girl, it was so awful. She was raped in the dorm stairwell, Brenda.
Oh, my goodness. He wasn't scared, was he?
Okay, but now this man who was the rapist, they did catch him. Mm-hmm. But he was one of the locals who was mad because the co-eds would give him no play.
Jackie,
one of those...
We just talked about this last week. What was that, the shooting
Yeah, the shooting in Santa Barbara. Okay,
he was mad because he couldn't get any play, right?
Exactly.
Because he grew up looking like Boo Boo the Fool.
Women on my campus, and everybody who listens to the show knows I went to the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, which is way up in the northwest corner of Arkansas. Mm-hmm. So we certainly have our share of hillbillies in that area.
Well, Jackie, listen, we're going to have to take a short break for about 5 minutes. Would you tell the audience what's coming up? What are we going to be talking about?
Well, Brenda said shooting, and that's what we're going to start. That's what we're going to start the next segment with. Shooting. The shooting, the execution, I will say, of the 2 Las Vegas police officers that were having lunch at a CC's restaurant in Las Vegas. We want to talk about that and their connection to the Clive and Bundy bullshit.
Okay, and Jackie, now today I wake up and I think that I'm looking at the discussion about the shooting in Vegas, but no, it was a new shooting today in Oregon.
Yes, there
at
was.
A school.
That was a school shooting. Yes.
Jackie, when are we going to stand up and put the NRA? When are we going to stuff their damn heads in a bucket?
Brenda, well, you asked me what we were going to be talking about next, and so
okay,
after the break, that's what we're going to
talk about. I didn't mean to get myself a headache after that, but you know, I forgot. I didn't know what you were going to tell us we were going to talk about, but that one right there, it gets me all worked up. This is the craziest mess that's going on in this country, and they continue to repeat. Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that too.
Well, all right. So y'all, you are listening to Let's Talk About It. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White. Your mother is in the chat room, Jackie, and she says San Antonio is wearing the heat out. FYI.
Look, I know I'm watching the game, okay?
Thank you, Morganfield. We appreciate that.
I'm not sitting in front of my computer. I'm sitting in front of the television, watching the game.
Yeah, if y'all didn't know, I'm at Jackie's mother's house, who is my big sister in Arkansas, still on vacation, and that's where I'm broadcasting from. So she's across the hall from me, and listening to the show, watching the game, and chatting in the chat room. And she decides to tell us before the break that San Antonio is wearing the heat out. Well, I'm sorry to hear that because LeBron is my man. But it is what it is. If they getting their ass whooped, they just getting their ass whooped. But we're going to take a short break.
Third, so they have a chance to come back.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break. And while we take this break, guys, I want you to pay attention and listen to this commercial that I made for some dear friends of mine. And it's called Free the IRP6. We still have these 7 beautiful fathers, brothers, husbands, uncles, nephews locked up in a federal prison in Colorado for a crime they did not commit. And we are still trying to get them out. So I want you to take a listen to this ad and then govern yourselves accordingly. And please, at the end, you'll hear me say to you to go over to their Facebook page and hit the like button. And I say that because there is always power in numbers. And if people see that, 200,000 people are standing with them, then, then we can get some feedback on this. Start getting some television shows to pick up this story and get these men home where they belong. Once again, you're listening to Let's Talk About It. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White. The uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert, a.k.a. Miss Uppity Speaks, is helping me talk about it. And coming up is Professor Walter Duval out of Canada and Julian I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar. We appreciate you. So stick and stay right here at the #1 broadcasting network on the net, and that's Spreaker.com.
No justice, no peace. Injustice must cease. Free D, free Clint, free G, and Kendrick. IRP6 needs justice. IRP6 needs justice. Need more men of justice.
Hi, this is Brenda White of The Brenda White Shows right here at Spreaker.com. And I would like to ask you something. What would you do if someone you loved had been wrongfully accused, tried, convicted, and imprisoned for a crime that they did not commit? Exactly. You would be screaming from the rooftops, somebody help me, somebody believe me, somebody fight with me. They didn't do it. Well, that's exactly what happened to Gary Walker, David A. Banks, Kendrick Ken Barnes, Clinton A. Stewart, David A. Zerpolo, and Demetrius K. Harper, 5 black men and 1 white, whom we call the IRP6. We are on a mission. We are on a campaign to bring these 6 men home that have been unjustly imprisoned by a marriage between a corrupt corporation and a corrupt justice system. IRP is an acronym for Investigative Resource Planning. IRP Solutions was a small minority-owned company competing with large companies such as Lockheed Martin and International Business Machines, aka IBM, for multi-million-dollar government contracts. What should have been a civil litigation involving a debt collection case filed by staffing agencies turned into a criminal fraud case pursued by Denver Assistant U.S. Attorney Matthew T. Kirsch, tried in a federal court and resulted in the IRP6 being sentenced to 7 to 11 years each in Florence Correctional Complex prison camp for mail and wire fraud. On October the 11th, 2011, Federal District Court Judge Christine Arguello, 10th Circuit, Denver, Colorado, forced an IRP executive to take the witness stand against his will, violating his 5th Amendment right. The IRP executive, Kendrick Barnes, was one of 6 defendants, 5 black, 1 white, in the federal case accused of mail and wire fraud. Barnes was forced to take the witness stand. Who among us that has a business doesn't have debt? The IRP acknowledged that the debt owed the staffing agencies was a legitimate one, and they were on the verge of selling their phenomenal security software to write that debt to law enforcement across the country, including the NYPD, the FBI, the CIA, DHS, aka Department of Homeland Security, etc. But when their offices were raided on that fateful day, nothing pertaining to the warrants, such as the financial records, were even taken. Only the information from their computers pertaining to the software product. Where I come from, down in the country, our response to something like this is, this has got more stank on it than a pot of chitlins. Now, to read the full story and get a complete understanding of this injustice, please visit www.freetheirp6.org. Meet these men and their families, and then join the movement. Like our Facebook page, Free the IRP6, and then write on your social media pages at least once a day to show your solidarity. Free the IRP6. Let's bring these men home to their families where they belong. We thank you for listening, and we thank you for your support. This has been a Brenda White production right here at Spreaker, at Spreaker.com.
Just look around and say it right. I'm right behind now. Just like the bridge over troubled water. I'll be there, lay me down. Just like the bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down.
You're listening to Spreaker Web Radio.
Nothing in this world could ever separate us from this love that we are. We all share the air that we breathe. The only thing that separates us is what we've been taught to believe. But don't you be deceived.
If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer.
Hi, this is Brenda White of The Brenda White Shows right here at Spreaker.com, inviting you to join me every Tuesday night for Spreaker's most informative political talk show, and that's Let's Talk About It. And joining me to talk about it and always helping to keep you informed is the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert, a.k.a. Miss Uppity Speaks. And also joining Jackie and I all the way from Australia is Jillian I Am Woman Hear Me Roar Anderson, giving us her Aussie point of view on all of our crazy political goings-on in this country. So you don't want to miss it. Tell somebody to join us here for Let's Talk About It every Tuesday night from 10 p.m. until 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Here at Let's Talk About It, we believe that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We also believe free your mind, honey, and your ass will follow. And we'll see you right here in the chat room at Spreaker.com.
How long will it take? Somebody's asking how long will prejudice blind the visions of men? I come to say to you this afternoon, however difficult the moment, however frustrating the hour, it will not be long, because truth crusher will rise again. How long? Not long. Because no lie can live forever. How long? Not long. Because you shall reap what you sow. How long? Not long. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yes, that scaffold sways the future. Behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. How long? Not long. Because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. How long? Not long. Because mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He's trampling out the bitters while the grapes of wrath are stored. He's loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, stand for him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Oh yeah, you are back.
In the middle of a revolution, because I see the face of things to come. Yes, I do. Oh, your Constitution. Well, my friend, it's gonna have to bend.
All right.
Tell you about
You are back with the wild and wonderful Brenda White, the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert, and Professor Walter Dubail. And my partner Jackie forgot that Jill had written her an email today saying that she would not be here with us tonight. So that's okay. You know, Jackie's overworked and underpaid, so she forgot. But that's
no,
okay.
I didn't forget. I just thought you got the same email.
If I did, I wouldn't know it. I hadn't checked emails today. I've been out in the street. I'm on vacation, but I'm still trying to pull these shows off. But we have on the line with us now, Jackie, Professor Walter Dubail from Montreal, Canada. Y'all welcome, Walt. Hello, Walt. You are so welcome. The crowd is glad that you're here, and I'm glad you're here as always. Okay, so Jackie, do you want to pick up on the topic, or do you want me to get Walt to finish up the sexual university sexual policy rules that I had him? Okay, so Walt, I'm gonna get
for Walt to finish up, please, while I finish my dinner. Go right ahead, Walt.
Okay, Walt. So you got this question that I posed to you about 15 minutes ago. Have you thought about it?
Well, it's sort of hard for me to really weigh in on this up to a certain point because, things have changed a lot from today. We're pretty old. Back in my day, things were a little more difficult. Men and women had separate dorms, and I think they closed the dorms at 12 o'clock midnight, so it was kind of pretty hard to do. And now you have a lot more proximity. You have a lot more mixed co-ed dorms. You have a different kind of society. So, it is what it is up to a certain point,
Yeah, and it's very tough. So I wanted to know, what did you think about this policy that they've written? Do you think it's going to help? I mean, I think that rape is...
I tend to agree with what you said. I heard what you said, and I tend to agree with that because, there are laws out there when things happen, and it's up to the universities to allow the local police forces or whatever to investigate those cases.
Yeah, and I think already they're not doing a damn thing about it, according to all the rape victims, and some of them are men. And, you already have laws against rape, so these silly policies. Jackie, what did you say the policy was? You got before, during, and after.
Yeah, that there must be explicit consent.
Mm-hmm. Before, during, and after.
Well, that's kind of that wave of what everybody calls political correctness.
Yeah, that would be what they would call that, wouldn't they, Walt?
I think that's what they call it, yeah.
Political correctness.
You're the expert on sexual matters, so I should sort of defer to you on this.
Yes, and let me tell you what that is, Walt. Political bullshit.
But there's a lot of that out there, and unfortunately, I tend to agree with you. There is, the writer Camille Paglia, right, who hasn't been out for a long time, pretty popular for a while, and she was her father taught at the same college that both Barbara and I went to, and she grew up as a kind of in an Italian household and stuff, and her thing about this was always, well, your parents instruct you. There are certain things you don't do, certain places you don't go, and it's just a question of...
And Walt, as simple as that sounds, that really is one of the things that it comes down to. I think that's the most important thing. What your mama and your daddy told you. There are things you don't do. There are places you don't go. There are places you don't go alone. Get your buddy system together, 2, 3, 4 girls. I can't ever remember being out on the college campus by myself.
Yeah.
At night walking somewhere.
No, I think that's true. And the other thing is that, that's in general a rule in society up to a certain point. You can't expect that you can be allowed to do whatever you want all the time. I mean, you take a city, for example, you're not just going to walk into any old bar.
Right. Yeah, there are some bars and you might look through the window and see a skinhead. Don't go in there, especially if you're a Negro.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Don't go in there. My advice to you, I don't care whether I'm going there because we ought to have the right to go in there. Fuck that. I'm not going in there.
I agree with that. It's exactly the mentality that seems to be out there in some cases, and it's sort of a false liberalism up to a certain point, right?
And you can
say that again, Walt, because I like that.
Yeah, you like that, a false liberalism?
say that again a little clearer, Walt, because we love to educate the audience as well as my dumb ass. Say it one more time.
It's a false liberalism. I mean, basically, we should, in general, everybody wants to have a society where everybody's happy and you can do what you want and so on, but that only happens in heaven or whatever.
Okay, or fairyland or whatever, but the best advice is to always have your buddy system. Don't go somewhere and get drunker than a snake with strangers. And I don't care if you even know them, you can, even some of your best friends that you think are your buddies or your pals might rape you. But, you really need to, Judge Judy always says it's just inappropriate for you to go somewhere and get yourself a bloody, stinking rat ass drunk. And again, nobody has the right to rape you, but since we know these bastards do that, and since I'm willing to bet you my last $100 and a pair of my thongs that is going to continue, you need to protect yourself, because you can write all the laws.
One of the things, that women need to be, that is one of the things.
Yeah, you can write all the laws you want to, Jackie. It's not going to make some bastard that ain't got no damn home training, or too damn ugly to get a girlfriend, or just think that he could be handsome as hell and just ain't got the, the sense to talk to a woman. You can bet you're still going to have these assholes out here raping women and mistreating them. So you got to be your best protection. You can write all the shit you want to. It's just like people always talk about a contract. You got a contract? Because then you can write all the contracts you want to, but if a bastard has no intentions of paying you, the contract might...
Yes, if he has no intention of honoring that contract.
That's right. They have no intentions of honoring the contract.
And that's something that young women, if women want to be... we get mad when they're trying to tell us whether or not we can use birth control or have abortion. They're always trying to control our bodies, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we need to make sure that we're in control of our bodies.
That's right.
In all things, not just in this manner.
I had some old man about 80 years old, Jackie, jump up and kiss me in a club in Sumter. I punched his ass in the mouth. I tried to knock out his false teeth. I don't know you. And old age does not excuse your ass for bad manners. I dare you try to kiss me again. I punched his ass in the mouth. That'll learn you. And so women, I say to you, we know that none of us should be raped, even if you, like I said, laying out on the grass naked.
Yes, exactly. There's no excuse.
There's no excuse. But the fact is you got a bastard that's gonna do it. You got a Ted Bundy out there waiting on your ass. So my suggestion is, don't get on the grass naked. That's my best suggestion. But no, I don't approve or say that heifer should have been raped. You should never be raped. Even if you a damn fool, you shouldn't be raped.
That is true.
Okay, so Jackie, let's go. Let's talk. I'm gonna try not to get
I have one more little bit of election news to pass along.
Okay.
Okay, and that is that Tim Scott of South Carolina, won the Republican primary tonight.
Tim Scott. Is he a Tea Party or Jackie?
The black guy that Nikki Haley appointed after Jim DeMint resigned from the Senate.
Uh-huh. That's him.
He won the Republican primary.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did. Now, he really didn't have any competition.
Yeah, and Jackie, you said he's a black guy, but he's not one of... You said he was a black guy, Jackie, but he's not one of us.
Yeah, I understand. But
okay.
And it's telling you now.
Okay.
You just always get ahead. Hold up.
Okay.
So he didn't really have any competition. Mm-hmm. The guy who filed to run in the primary didn't even campaign after the filing date. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this sounds like one of those setups to me. And his opponent, a woman, won the Democratic nomination. And she is a Richland County councilwoman. Her name is Joyce Dickerson, and she is also black.
Uh-huh. I could tell by her name that she was black.
And so in November, South Carolina may elect their first black candidate.
Ooh. Well, Jackie, something I would love to do here at Let's Talk About It, speaking of that and black candidates, I would love to have Little Alvin Green as our guest. Where are they now?
No, Brenda. Brenda, please explain who Little Alvin Green is, because I'm sure a lot of people probably don't remember.
Okay, Alvin Green, y'all, was this black man. I think he was a vet in South Carolina, but he rode the short bus, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. But somehow, some way, he got the $10,000 necessary to file and get himself on the ballot. And some of those idiots down in South Carolina, and he he was going to be challenging Jim DeMint, wasn't he, Jackie? In the general election.
Oh, Brenda, I'm sorry, I don't recall.
Yeah. So anyway, he had this big name, and I'm telling you, this was a Republican stunt if ever there was. They chose this black man. He did not campaign, not even at the short bus schoolhouse. He didn't go to one rally. And he beat everybody in the primary that was running for the Senate seat. And all of a sudden, people are looking all around and saying, who in the hell is Alvin Green? And la, 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 la. And then they finally meet this man. And Alvin Green was practically homeless, living with his dad. And he had the vocabulary of a 10-year-old. And he just looked like he rode the short bus. He looked like he
had been unemployed a long time.
Had been unemployed for a very long time. So how in the hell, where did he get $10,000 to pay to register to get his name on the ballot? Mm-hmm. And, I'm convinced it was the Republicans that did it. And because he was black, he beat everybody. Okay, y'all, hold on. This is Jillian Anderson calling.
Okay.
So I'm answering her. Jillian, darling, there you are. Are you there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? We're up at there. She is, Jillian. Yes. I think she's in her car, Jackie. I can't hear you. I can't hear you very well, Jill, but hang on, let me turn up my volume again. I had it all the way up, and the minute you said a word, then there it goes back down. But hang on, I'm getting you all the way back up. Jillian, are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Brenda. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. So, Jackie, you all know that I'm looking at Jill on Uvu, on video phone, all the way from Australia. Now, Jill, I had my hair all fixed up. And I forgot you were going to be calling me, so I'm not as cute as I was. My hair is hanging everywhere. I'm glad you're not a man that I was trying to impress. Okay, so I just do that ponytail thing. You look wonderful, Jill. You're out in your car in Australia. You're out in your car in Australia and ain't nobody shot you.
Nobody shot me. Have you seen my car? Can you see my car?
No, not yet. I see a bunch of trees. Oh, yes, I see your blue car.
I don't know.
What are you driving? I see it's blue.
It's a Peugeot.
It's a
Peugeot.
It's a Peugeot, Jackie. What is that?
It's a Peugeot.
A Peugeot. What the hell is a Peugeot?
Peugeot.
It's a French car.
I don't know nothing about nothing except my Jeep. Okay, well, hold on right there, Jill. We are delighted to have you join us because Jackie said she received an email from you today and you didn't think you would be with us, but we are delighted to have you, my darling. Hold on right there. I was telling the audience who Little Alvin Green was. So, Little Alvin Green, he won this primary, and then, of course, when it came to Jim DeMint, he was going to get a skull drug through that election, as he did, and now we have no idea where he is. When the different reporters caught up with him for television interviews, I'm telling you, it was like talking to not even Daffy Duck, not even that. I mean, it was pathetic, but they did it and they got away with it, and Jim DeMint won, only to move on for the Heritage Foundation. Did he not, Jackie?
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Jill, here we are. Jackie is getting ready. We were just talking about, Jackie was telling us about some new policies and laws that have been written on for different universities on the university campuses for about rape. And so I think okay, she cut the video to make it stronger. So Jackie had been telling us about that. Yep. There you go. Okay. So Jackie was telling us about the new policies that have been written about rape, and it's supposed to deter rape. Is that correct, Jackie?
Yes.
This policy written is supposed to deter rape on the campuses, and we were all just discussing, and my thought is that the best advice to deter rape is to do what your mama told you, you know, where while no man has the right to rape you or any other woman or any other man, these bastards exist and will continue to exist. So the best advice is to do what your mama told you. Don't go anywhere by yourself on the campuses. Don't get drunk as a damn squirrel sitting up under the tree eating plums or something. Or picking up the bad plums off the ground and getting drunk.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. So, Jill, is this a big problem in Australia?
Yeah, we have, I don't know, do you have Thursday night, Black Thursday, or Reclaim the Night marches?
Jackie?
Where women get together and march to reclaim the night, to say, if I want to go out and walk home, I should be safe.
Jackie, I've never heard of that. Have you heard of that here in the U.S.?
Yes.
Oh, Jackie says we do.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie says we do have that, Jill.
Yeah, because in some neighborhoods, for instance, it is in neighborhoods where there's a lot of drug dealing going on, and mothers will go out with their children, walk the street protesting that they should be able to walk safely in their own neighborhood. So, yeah, we do that here, too.
And that's a wonderful thing. But, again, I say, you know, we can do that. But when you get a Ted Bundy in your neighborhood, you know, you're just going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that I know I make fun of my state legislature all the time because they can be pretty ridiculous. It's an admirable cause, but this is not going to do it.
No,
this is not going to do it, and it's just a waste of paper.
Well, Jill, I know you'll get a laugh out of this, as Jackie said. What is the law saying, Jackie? Before, during, and after?
Must have explicit consent. How many times do you want me to say this?
Well, Jill wasn't here.
I know, because it seems like I've been saying this, you know.
Well, you have, but it was funny to me, and Jill is here, and she wasn't here, and so.
I was about to say, Brenda, look, everybody, Brenda just can't get over it. She just doesn't understand.
It's just amazing to me.
She's refusing to understand.
Well, Jill, here was my question to Jackie, okay, as she continued to read this thing to me, and she says that the couples must have explicit consent before, during, and after. And I said, well, what if they don't like it afterwards? What do you do? Give me my sex back? I don't know. What do you think, Jill? Are you going to ask for your sex back?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Well, I was about to say, Brenda, you could ask, but you're probably not going to get it. Okay?
Okay. What'd you say, Jill?
Well, I was just going to say something stupid, like, you know, when it's done, especially if you're a man. You can't ask for back.
Well, don't listen to them.
Oh, okay. Hey.
Them.
Okay, I gotta say this. You know, this is where the outrages come in, when it has nothing to do with the story, but then it does. And Jill said, especially if you're a man, and it reminds me of the joke and where the sperm says, "Run like hell, it's a blowjob."
There you go.
Okay, Jackie. Walt, do you still want to be associated with us?
Yeah, well, this may be the last time we have Walt, because I'm sorry, Walt.
Oh, my gosh.
No, that's all right. I was going to say, I guess it depended on who you were, but, you know. But anyway.
Y'all are crazy. Okay, Jackie. So let's move on.
Can we get off this subject now?
Yes, we can. Jill has heard it. I didn't want to miss it, and I wanted Jill's Aussie point of view, and she just gave her Aussie point of view. Okay, so go ahead, Jackie.
I didn't really.
Okay, so it is really, we are really fortunate to have Walt and Jill with us, because they live in countries that have sensible gun laws.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Of course, in the United States, we have passed another week of Americans shooting each other up. We had a school shooting today. we had an execution of police officers in Las Vegas a couple of days ago.
Yeah, 2 police
and
officers.
Our politicians continue to tell us that there's just nothing that can be done.
Jackie, did you hear the Rachel Maddow show last night as she read from the Indiana governor?
Yes, God. Well, do you want me to look that up? Because that's something that really needs to be explained.
Yeah, that was really something, Jackie. Yeah, please look it up so you can tell our audience, because our audience probably doesn't watch the Rachel Maddow show. A lot of people just come here because we're crazy and they know us and they want to hear our points of view on the news and this political news. And I'm telling you, it's getting worse by the day. But Jill, are you and Walt aware of the execution of the 2 Vegas police officers over the weekend?
Yes, and I believe there's another school shooting
in Oregon today.
Yes.
Yeah. One shooter, one victim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they also had the map on the news. I think I watched ABC tonight, but they had the map of all the shootings that have occurred since the one in Connecticut. And it's pretty amazing.
Was it, Walt, do you remember the number that they gave?
No, but I mean, they had little flags at all the places.
Oh, yeah.
On the map of the U.S. where the shootings occurred, and there were quite a few of them, and they did give the number, but I just don't remember it.
You know, they don't care how many people are shot.
I think it's something like that.
Yeah, it's certainly a fair number.
It's been basically a little more than 1 shooting per week. It's like 1.37 shootings per week.
Do you guys remember when Reagan's one of his cabinet members, Brady, was shot when President Reagan was shot?
Yep, yeah.
Nothing they could do could change his mind and make them, make stronger gun laws. Even with his friend being shot and him being shot, they couldn't deter them. I mean, the National Rifle Association here, the NRA, they must give some powerful money to you to make you continue to be stupid.
Yeah.
Because our gun laws don't make any sense. As Jill, they were talking about Australia again on one of the shows, and they had someone from Australia on one of the shows, and they were telling about this last big shooting that Jill has told us about here once before, and that since that mass shooting, how things changed, because you can't get a gun just, lickety-split like that anymore. But we just refuse. I know they know better, Walt. I know that our lawmakers know better. And it's such a shame that they're being paid.
And especially, I don't know how much you know about Canada, but here, we're in Quebec, which probably has the most severe gun laws in Canada. And part of the reason for that was, I believe it was in 87, an ex-Army guy went to the university, to the engineering faculty, which is called the École Polytechnique here, at the University of Montreal, and shot a whole mess of people, something like 20 people, and killed, I believe it was 11 people, all of whom were women, because he was unhappy that women were taking places in things like engineering and so on and so forth. And when that happened, that first of all changed a lot of the perception of people toward even women's rights and women entering in different fields like engineering and medicine, all that kind of stuff. But the other thing it did was to make people very unhappy about automatic weapons.
Yeah, I don't know what it takes here for. I mean, after Gabby Giffords got shot, you can't talk to them about changing any laws. I just don't understand why we can't have this background check immediately.
And the thing about it, to close the gun show loophole and the private sales loopholes, because this guy, what is his name? It was Jared Miller.
Yes, he and his wife.
Yeah, he and his wife. Jared Miller was a convicted felon, and so he could not legally purchase a firearm. I don't know about his wife, whether she could or not, but he certainly could not. But the law that you were talking about in Indiana, okay,
yes,
was passed in the summer of 2012. And police officers in Louisiana were very upset because the law authorizes people to protect themselves or their property by using deadly force in response to unlawful intrusion by a public servant.
Okay, yeah, Jackie, they were saying...
I need to say that again?
Yes, please say that again. Rachel Maddow called it the right to kill a cop law.
And that's what it is.
And that's basically what it is.
Yeah, and it's an amendment to the state's so-called Castle Doctrine bill, which is basically you can shoot anybody who's trespassing on your property.
And this girl came from Indiana, wasn't she, Jackie? Wasn't she an Indiana native?
Yes.
The wife that helped to murder, to execute.
He lived in Indiana, too. I don't know if he was from there, born and raised, but that was one of the things that he was talking about on his online posts and so on. That after this law was passed in Indiana, it was like, well, it's time for the revolution to start because we can kill police officers now.
Yeah, and what revolution? You killed 2 people and killed yourself. What have you changed?
Well, Brenda, listen. You know, he was part of this, you know, he was like one of these militiamen wannabes.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is watching people moonwalk, trying to moonwalk away from this crap. Militias out at Clive and Bundy's ranch, and they're still out there, by the way.
Yeah, because you had our Republican and Tea Party brethren up there on Capitol Hill just announcing that these were patriots. And look, they couldn't moonwalk fast enough away from those bastards as soon as they found out that Clive and Bundy had not paid his dues.
Grazing fees?
Yes,
no,
grazing
fees.
fees.
Fee thing, because he was still a patriot for not paying his grazing fees.
Oh, that's right, because they hate the government that they love to work for and get a check.
When he decided that he was going to educate the nation on the Negro.
Yes.
That's when his stock fell. And so now, this young man and his wife, Jared Miller and his wife, they were people who went up to the Bundy Ranch to help to defend Mr. Bundy from the evil Bureau of Land Management agents who were executing a lawful court order, but nobody wants to talk about that.
Well, Jackie, I hate to make a joke of this, but I'm just wondering if Clive and Bundy's son is all twisted up in the face because he got shot in the face. Do you know how he got to look like that?
I have no idea. It looks like he was kicked by one of those cows. Yeah, but you know, but the thing is,
oh God, I'm sorry.
Okay, there are a couple of things about the shooting in Las Vegas too that are noteworthy. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, that the way that the shooters put the Gadsden flag, you know, the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and a swastika on one of the cops, and the other note about this is the beginning of the revolution on the other cop. And then when they went across the street to the Walmart, they didn't start shooting up the Walmart. They were telling people that the revolution was beginning and they needed to get out if they didn't want to get hurt because the cops were coming.
Right.
But there was a man in the store. The man who was shot in the Walmart was a man who was armed because Nevada is another one of those open carry states. Okay? This man was armed, and so since he had his gun, he was going to go and confront the guy that had his gun. But what he didn't realize is that the woman who came in behind the guy, was with the shooter.
And they said that they took the police up.
Brenda, just let me finish.
Okay.
Now, if that man had not been carrying a firearm, wouldn't he have left the store with everybody else?
And Jackie, you know what I bet you?
He would have made it home.
I bet you my next paycheck, Jackie, that was one of his brethren from the Clive and Bundy Ranch.
Well, I wouldn't put any money on that, but I'm just saying that Nevada is another one of those open carry states,
Yeah, and he felt his wild. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And the National Rifle Association is always the way to beat a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Well, no, a good guy with a gun can get capped. So now that man's family, he's not coming home anymore.
Right.
Because he had a gun, an untrained civilian.
Right. Feeling wonky.
Right. Who I love the way the sheriff said he heroically went to. But see, this is this whole macho thing that revolves around the gun culture.
Right. Right.
You know, and if that man had just left the store,
he told them all to go.
He would have made it home to his family.
But he was feeling wild wishes.
Yeah. And so anyway, I mean, this whole episode in Las Vegas really, I mean, it's a graphic demonstration of how the gun lobby is incredibly wrong. Right? But we all know this.
Right.
But we still do not have any politicians who are willing to do what it takes to get, because we point to Australia. In this country, people have been pointing to Australia more and more about how you guys, Jill, solved your mass shooting problem. Yes. And you haven't had any more mass shootings since you guys changed the law, right?
Is that correct, Jill?
Exactly. That's exactly right. It's been, I think, 18 years since the last massacre. That Port Arthur massacre that they keep citing is why the Prime Minister changed the gun laws after that shooting. I had a friend that was shot in that.
Oh wow!
She was shot. She was. It was done in a cafe, like a diner. And the guy came in, locked the door, and shot everybody in the diner. And my friend Bridget was the chef, and she came out to see what all the screaming was about and the noise, and saw this gunman dived under the table, and he saw that, and he walked up to her, pointed the rifle at her head, and she's a good Catholic girl, and she just started saying her prayers and saying goodbye to her family, and he, for some reason, lowered the rifle and shot her in the leg.
Oh my goodness!
So she's got a big, like, she's a big girl, Bridget, and she's got this hole. It looks like dough, and someone punched dough, you know, when you punch dough for making bread and stuff.
Right.
It looks like that in her leg. So.
And you said it's been 18 years, Jill, since that mass shooting.
18 years.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
This is amazing. We are the hard-headedest people I've ever seen. Or we've got so much money and we're so greedy. I mean, they talked about this smart gun. Okay, so somebody has invented this smart gun here. And the way the smart gun works is that you wear this watch. And the signal is that when the owner has the gun in their hand. And then only the owner can fire because only the owner has the watch on. And the NRA had an absolute fit, and one of their gun owners who owned a store was telling, thought this was a great idea. You know, he was trying to be a responsible gun owner, and boy, listen, he went on up with Chris Hayes' show and told this, and took Chris Hayes to the gun range and showed him how it works. And man, let me tell you, he got so many death threats on Facebook and around, that he was doing the moonwalk the next day. He put up a video on YouTube and saying, I didn't, you know, I was tricked. And I mean, they're just so vicious. They scare everybody to death, except us.
Yeah, well, it's a cultural thing, right? I mean, even somebody like me who grew up in the North, you don't really see a lot of that in the Northeast, for example. And you know, when you go down south, I remember I've only been down south a couple of times. Some south means like south of the Mason-Dixon. And well, I remember the first time we were in North Carolina, and we went into the Waffle House, and there was one of those like no smoking signs, except the red thing was with a gun. So don't bring your gun into the Waffle House. I said, what's this? You know, Barbara and I say, point to the sign, gotta take a picture of this or something. You know.
Yeah, you know, we are the most ignorant people, or just we're not so ignorant as we are. Well, we are ignorant and we're greedy, and the NRA is ruling with this greed for these. I don't know. You know, I hate to say this, but until one of those bastards that are big members of the NRA, until this shit affects them personally, I don't think they'll ever change their mind.
Well, Brenda, the thing about the NRA is that it has been, the NRA has not always been like this, first of all, I just want to say.
No, it wasn't.
The NRA used to be a gun safety club.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys understand that what the NRA's thing was responsible gun ownership, and they taught people how to properly care for and safely use their firearms.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did. And then the NRA leadership was taken over by gun manufacturers. And the reason that gun manufacturers saw the NRA as a fertile place for them is because their business continues to decline.
Mm-hmm.
And so they managed to, well, what they did was they put a lot of money, just like you said, a lot of money into the National Rifle Association, yes. And then they worked on subverting the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so now the NRA is kind of in this death grip. I mean, even most people who are NRA members don't agree with a lot of the NRA positions. And the thing that I don't understand about that, whenever I see one of those polls, is, okay, so if you don't agree and you don't like this, why don't you cancel your membership?
I think Herbert Walker Bush canceled his, wasn't that?
George H.W. Bush?
Yes.
Yeah, he may have.
Yeah, he stood up and canceled his on camera. And let them know that they're not the gun safety club that they used to be.
Yes, they most certainly are not.
And it's insane to me now that they don't want a smart gun sold. They don't want to sell.
Because I'm sure the manufacturers of the smart guns are not in their clique.
Yeah, and they're telling their members, this is how Barack Obama is going to track you. No, your cell phone is how they track you. And everybody that's got a cell phone, you don't have to wait for them to put some kind of implant under your skin. They got you with the cell phone, dog.
Well, you know, I was just going to say that when you look at this sort of from the outside, I mean, forget just about the politics and stuff like that, it's kind of inconceivable the states would give people the right to carry concealed. I mean, that's...
I know, right?
You know, like Georgia. I mean, you can imagine going into a bar and everybody having like 5 drinks. You know?
Okay. Oh, well, that is
Wild West.
Well, that's the scariest of all.
But I am encouraged though, Walt, and I'll tell you how come. Because when you said that about going into a bar and having 5 drinks, this summer in the great state of Georgia, they have a law going into effect that critics call the guns everywhere law. But the majority of Georgians, now Georgia is a very conservative state, but the majority of residents in Georgia do not like that law. And as the thing that I find very interesting about it is that Governor Deal, who signed the bill into law with great fanfare,
yes,
continues to fall further and further behind his Democratic opponent.
Oh, I'm loving it, Jackie.
The last poll that I saw, Governor Deal is 7 points behind Jason Carter.
Oh, Jackie, I did not know that, and I'm loving it because, and then Jill, we're going to give you a chance to speak because, I remember when he signed this law, it's been about 2 months ago now, and we were here saying, oh my goodness, Georgia is just going to have a ball now. Ain't nothing better than liquor and guns.
That's right.
And you can take your gun anywhere, anytime. And this is going to be great. Liquor and guns. Just wait till they start walking up in the bars and getting drunk and getting mad with you dancing with the woman they don't want you dancing with, and just start folks not coming home from the bar. This is going to be fascinating. I am so glad that you said that, Jackie, because that lets me know that people get it. And he stood there and said, and the NRA has always supported me, and I will always support the NRA. Okay, dog. Woohoo! And the next day, two college students, some college students killed each other, and oh my God, it never stops. And they've had about 3 shootings at a college campus in Georgia since he signed the law.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So, Jill.
And the thing about it is that on college campuses, you cannot, I mean, where I went to college, if you were caught with a gun on campus, it didn't matter where it came from, how you got it. You were immediately dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
You had no recourse. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's zero tolerance for guns on campus. And this is in Northwest Hill Country, Arkansas.
And Jackie, you know, when I was in college, I never saw anybody with a gun that never came to discussion or mind about it. And the more they just don't get it, that the more that they make these gun laws more lax and more lax, the more shootings we are having every single day somewhere. And I wouldn't have sex with one of them hard-headed bastards for nothing. Y'all know where I'm going, right?
Oh, here we go. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know where I'm going. They don't listen. They don't learn.
You know, I was just going to say, because you were talking about having sex with the Republicans, one of your favorite people was in the news the other day. I tried to send the article to Jackie in the Washington Post, Mr. Cruz, right?
Yes.
Because they had the Republican, the Texas Republican convention on the 6th of June, and he was there as the keynote speaker, and one of his quotes was, you know, I've something to the effect that I'm out of Washington, D.C., and I'm back in America, kind of thing.
Yeah, right, yeah. That's his new line. And that gets him a few...
So apparently all the major state offices in Texas are now going to be held by Cruz Republicans, so... you might not want to go to Texas for a while.
Yeah, Walt, I'm feeling very good. I want Ted Cruz to win whatever seat he sets out. If he's going for the Senate again, yeah, Jill, we're going to let you in here in just a minute. If he's going for the Senate again, I'm rooting for Ted Cruz because I want his crazy ass to get the brakes beat off of him in the general. Because there's no way this man... Is he up? He is up for election, isn't he, Jackie?
No, sweetie.
He's not up. And won't be on what?
He didn't go into the Senate until 2010.
Okay.
He's not going to be up until 2016. And the scuttlebutt is he intends to run for president.
Yes, that's what they said in the article, exactly, right?
I heard that, Jackie, and I'm still... Every time I hear it, I laugh. He and Sarah Palin. Jackie, I want him to run.
Oh, I want him to run.
I want him to run. I want Sarah. I want old girl back, Michelle Bachmann. I want all them damn fools to run because this ensures us another victory. So I'm excited for him. I'll go down there and campaign for them bastards. I want them to run for president, please. Ted Cruz for president, please. Because when he gets...
Yeah, well, he and Rand Paul and a bunch of them.
Jackie, you know who he reminds me of, Ted Cruz? Remember the cartoon guy with the Looney Tunes? And they made him from the movie star, the man that, Rick, save me. You know, in Casablanca? You know, the one with the droopy eyes that, Mr. Rick, save me. Yes, that's who Ted Cruz reminds me of. I just despise him. So,
okay.
If he's
what
going to...
What did Jillian want to say?
Yeah, Jill, what did you want to say?
Oh, well, it's just that my sound keeps going off. That's why I go, hello. But I just, when our politicians started changing the gun laws, some of them lost their jobs over it. Like, they committed political suicide to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to, when you stand up for things that aren't right, you got to expect a little bit of fallout, personal fallout. And that's what happened to some of these politicians. They actually lost their jobs.
Well, Jill, we hope that some of ours... Well, I pray that some of ours will lose their jobs. And I don't know, you didn't join us earlier, but breaking news here: the Senate Majority Leader, Eric Cantor, got his ass beat today. He got the brakes beat off of him after serving 7 terms, wasn't it, Jackie?
Yes, 14 years.
Yeah, he was pretty much a shoo-in all the time. And one of these Tea Party bastards beat him with that crazy talk. But you see, once this Tea Party guy gets out of Virginia and has to run in the general, he's not going to win.
Well, Bryn, it's like I said before, since this is a congressional race, he could, because that's where most of the Tea Partiers come from these gerrymandered congressional districts.
Yeah.
But we do not know what's going to happen, and we do not know a lot about this guy.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen? And I mean, this is Virginia. It could be that the moderate Republicans get so disgusted they don't even bother.
Well,
is his district must be outside the
Gio,
what are you doing? Are you cleaning your window again?
Outside the Washington suburbs, it is 57% Republican.
Yeah.
And the 7th district is very conservative in Virginia, and the 8th district is very progressive in Virginia. And those two districts are side by side, and they can be more different, yeah. But yes, so anyway, I know Brenda keeps saying, and they're going to get whipped. Well, they don't always get whipped.
No, they don't always, Jackie, but...
Yes, if this were a Senate race, I would be much more comfortable, because, see, the thing about it is, in Mississippi, there is a Tea Party in a runoff against the establishment Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, if the Tea Party guy wins in Mississippi, the Democrats have a shot.
Yeah, this is great.
Because the Democrats have a very good candidate running in Mississippi for Senate. And so because this Tea Party guy in Mississippi is one of those loudmouth right-wing radio talkers.
Yeah, and you're very, the chances are more than not that he will open his trap and say something stupid like Todd Aiken.
Well, I saw that he got the endorsement, or he had people there from the Mississippi militia and from the, what are they, the Sons of the Confederate Soldiers thing?
Yes.
But on the other hand, I think read that there hasn't been a Democrat elected in that situation for the last 20 years, right? Something of that nature.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see, but it's just like Brenda and I were talking about last year. The midterm elections this year are not going to be anything that anybody thinks is going to happen. Like, all the people who've been making their prognostications are wrong, Walt. They're just wrong. Because there's some strange things going on in the country, and especially with the issue of expanding Medicaid in a lot of these states. That is an issue, and that is going to hurt Republicans. I don't care what they say about it. They can talk about how we hate Obamacare and all that other stuff. In the South, you have Arkansas, the state of Arkansas, that has expanded Medicaid, and all the states around them, but for Kentucky, don't have the Medicaid expansion.
Yeah, we have 24...
People in those regions can see the difference.
We have 24 states...
Now, as soon as...
Is that correct, Jackie? 24 states that have not accepted the Medicaid expansion?
Yeah, there are 24 states.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the Democrats are trying to educate the public to get them to understand that they are paying for the Medicaid expansion, they're paying for this.
Uh-huh.
And so if their state doesn't accept the Medicaid expansion, you know how we are in California. We're just too happy to take that money.
Yes, you guys are. And do not remind me again.
These states that just like we were too happy when Florida let us have $1 billion of money for their light rail for their rapid rail system that we're using here in California.
And Jackie, could you give us an update on the polls right now? Charlie Crisp against Rick Scott, my former governor.
Charlie Crist does have a lead on Rick Scott, and it varies. I mean, I've seen from like 12 points to 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but yeah, Charlie Crist. I do not see how Rick Scott can win in Florida.
I don't either.
The Republican governor of Pennsylvania is running anywhere from 20 to 25 points behind his Democratic challenger.
Oh my goodness, Jackie! This is wonderful news, and you know this is
so, and it's the same thing in Maine. Their governor is in trouble. Their Republican governor is in trouble. So I know that it's still early in the year, but if the bottom line is, if Democrats come out and vote,
yes,
this November, and it doesn't have to be in giant numbers like they did in the presidential election. Just if they do better than they usually do.
Yeah. Well, you know, Barack is going. The president is going around the country now and making this known, Jackie, and he is telling us that it begins in your state. You've got to send the right senator, a Democratic senator, to Washington from your state, or I'm not going to get anything done. And so the president is on a little campaign going around the country and telling us this, and I hope people are listening.
President, and that's what I have to give it to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's really smart cooking.
Yeah.
And what the Democrats have decided to put their money into during this campaign season is voter turnout.
Yes.
They're working their turnout operations. And so if we have, if the Democrats had even like, I think about 40% turnout or something like that, they probably win most of these races.
Well, my money is certainly on the Dems, and my money is really on these ignorant-ass Republicans and Tea Partiers to continue to say dumb-ass shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, what did I say? That they're they're eating their own.
Yeah. If they lose, they have nobody to blame but themselves. But you Dems, this is not to say that you don't work. We got to work. We got to work and continue to pray that they continue to open their dumbass mouths and say something ridiculous and let people know, I ran into a couple of white families yesterday at a little seafood restaurant here in Forest City down the street. And they were telling us where they were from and stuff like that. And they had seen my friend who owns this restaurant. Her billboard just went up last Friday, and they saw it. They pulled in, and the food was wonderful. And I said, so y'all are from Texas? And yeah. I said, so Rick Scott, your governor, is going to be running for president? And this white man said...
No, not Rick Scott.
I mean,
Perry.
Rick Perry. And he
Rick
said...
Perry.
And Jackie, he said, God, I hope not. And I hope that somebody will hear it and get his tail out of the governor's office. And they were really, they were school teachers, and... he taught high school, and they were really nice people. And it's just amazing how every time I run into somebody, they're disgusted, Jackie.
Well, especially if you're a school teacher, because Republicans hate public schools.
Oh, yeah. And you know what else we don't want? We don't want this hatred that they're feeding to us. We've already come to that. And Walt, if you're white and you lived in this country during those terrible times, Martin Luther King marched, and black people all over the country were marching for the rights to sit down at a counter and eat, and the rights to go to a bathroom. If we get pushed back to that, it's going to be some terrible times in this country, especially because the NRA has managed to get more guns and more guns on the street. And it won't just be, of course, I intend, if anything ever comes about like that, I intend to be peaceful at all times. But how long can we remain peaceful with all these fools with these guns? And the militia out at Clive and Bundy's ranch really believe that they talking about they got 30 million jacket soldiers? That's the lie they told.
Yeah, something ridiculous like that. Yeah.
Well, I'm probably more pessimistic about all these things than you are, right?
Yeah.
You keep saying that, Walt.
Yeah, Walt is worried.
It's experience. We're older and stuff, but I mean, think of how far the country has gone since, the Goldwater days. I mean, people thought that Barry Goldwater was crazy. Barry Goldwater would have been, a very moderate guy now.
Okay.
I mean, I read a couple books on Goldwater, obviously, including the one his son wrote, but, when Barry Goldwater wanted to run against John Kennedy, and one of the ideas he had, which is really a very cool idea, is he wanted to rent a train and go from coast to coast and stop everywhere and debate Kennedy in all these various cities, right? I mean, you wouldn't find, some of the people out there wanting to do that now.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's a different time, and I think that, there's a lot of common sense. There was a lot of things you've talked about tonight. I mean, we talked about the thing about the date rape. We talk about the politics and gun control and stuff. I mean, a lot of this is sort of like, sort of commonsensical, right?
Yeah, and when we're talking,
we've gone so far to the other extreme here that it's, I guess, people of our age, right? I mean, you see that's kind of tough to take, I think,
Walt, you really put your finger on it, because what we're talking about is just common sense. Just like we were saying, why do they need these silly laws before, during, and after sex? And, who the hell's going to work that out? Rape is rape. It's against the law. It's a terrible, brutal crime is perpetrated on men and women, and it's horrible. Have the damn law. It's against the law. You rape somebody, you're going to do some time if we catch your ass.
Yeah.
And they sit around and make up these silly laws, and you and Jackie and Jill and I are what I believe the country to be, more common sense people. And I think even some of those who are not common sense people are starting to change a little bit, Walt, because I'm telling you people, I don't try to tell y'all anything to scare y'all. I'm telling you that if we vote these fools in, these Tea Partiers, they're going to crash the country for sure, because you can't just go up there.
They're certainly working at it.
Yeah, you can't just go up to Washington and stop spending.
Well, the thing that I love about these anti-government guys,
yeah,
is they're so anti-government. Why do they want to be in the government?
Thank you, Jackie. That is the most sensible.
No, seriously, and you have hell getting them out of office.
This is my thing, Jackie. Why the hell do you want to work for a government that you hate and get these taxpayer dollars?
Exactly.
Because that's how your ass gets paid. As long as we...
that we haven't talked about, but I think that sometimes people should, is this business about all these various judges, too. I mean, part of the problem is not just the Supreme Court, but when you look down in a lot of the states, how are the judges appointed or how are they elected or whatever, and then you get some of these rulings about things which are acceptable, which are absolutely kind of bizarre.
Yeah, well... This judgeship thing, these judges are scary around the country. Even the Supreme Court is scary. Because, like we said, what we're talking about is just common sense. A background check is just common sense.
Yes.
For example, the Supreme Court decision, which essentially says that corporations have the same rights as people, is kind of weird.
I know.
Yeah.
And not only that, may I just say, Walt, that when that decision came down, when I first heard it on the radio, I knew that was wrong.
That's the corporation.
Even though I'm not an attorney, I did take 3 semesters of business law.
Jackie, look.
Of course, in business law, you have to take a lot of corporate law. And so I knew that was wrong.
And Jackie, Festus could have explained that to us, Jackie. Does the corporation eat? Does it drink water? Does it use the toilet? Does it have sex? Then it ain't a people.
Well, it's not just that, Brand.
Then it ain't a people.
Because of the way that corporations are constructed, corporations are designed to shield individuals.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So, corporations cannot be people because they are corporate entities.
I'll tell you why they can't be people, Jackie. You want me to tell you why?
Oh, please.
Because they're corporations.
Yes. Yes. So this is, our Supreme Court has turned a lot of settled law on its ear. For instance, when they abused Lily Ledbetter and said the reason that she couldn't sue her former employer was because she didn't file suit when the
when it was happening to her. Well, she didn't know
occurred, and that decision reversed 40 years of settled law.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And the other law, Jackie, why in the hell did they fuck with the voting rights law? And now we're in all this turmoil just because they did that shit.
Well, Brenda, listen. I know that the last couple of weeks I've been talking to you guys about my stint into Confederate history, okay?
Right.
But what I just want to point out to everybody is that the Confederacy was not a democracy. And these people are anti-democratic. They don't think that regular folks like us have enough sense to cast an intelligent vote.
Right.
And see, they call that rule by the mob. And so only the rich and enlightened people, the people who own lots of property, should be allowed to vote. And that is what this is in contravention of democracy. They don't believe in democracy or democratic.
No, they don't, Jackie. And they're the first ones screaming about patriotism, and they're stomping on our rights, and they're taking our rights. As you sit here and tell women that we can't have an abortion, we can't take birth control pills, we can't use the vibrators, we can't sue nobody. Now people, I'm talking to you straight. Does that sound like somebody that believes that government is too big? They want government all in our putty tats.
Yes.
All the time. And it just drives me crazy. But we're going to keep discussing this, and we're going to keep telling you all to get yourselves ready to vote. Do whatever you can. If you need a damn picture ID before November, and we haven't changed these laws that might be affecting you in your state, then do your damn best to get you a picture ID. Because, whenever I'm doing something that seems to be hard or inconvenient, I always think about the slaves. And I promise you, this is the thing that I do to myself. I promise you, I ask myself all the time, is that really that difficult to do?
Yeah, and not only that no matter where you're listening in the country, if you contact your local Democratic Party,
yes,
there will be somebody who can help you with this voter registration stuff.
Yeah, just care enough to do that.
So
because
if you are confused, if you don't know, just contact, your local Democratic committee. They're easy enough to find. You can Google them. Okay?
Yeah, and they will help you.
Them and they will provide folks to help you.
And I'm telling you, people, you guys had better start taking this stuff serious, because these people are not playing. They are really trying to take away your rights to vote, your right to, I say this all the time, the young black kids and young white kids who are able to go to prom with each other now. And you still got a lot of controversy going on there.
In some places.
Yeah, and you can walk down the street and hold a little white boy's hand, and you black, and you can hold a little white girl's hand, and you and a little black boy's hand, and you white. The reason that is happening is because of the fight that we did back in the 60s and the 70s and the 50s, and that shit can be changed any moment. And a lot of these laws are still on the books. I think it's Alabama that you are not allowed to, the races are not allowed to mix. And they hadn't taken that off the books. Why? Because I think they are hoping one day that this shit will be overturned, and then they can start locking you up left and right. But
Brenda, it's just like you said before. When we first started the show, everybody, Brenda used to always talk about the Voting Rights Act and how we need to be vigilant about the Voting Rights Act.
I did, didn't I, Jackie?
I tell you guys that I always poo-pooed Brenda, because I was like, nobody's going to repeal the Voting Rights Act. And nothing's going to happen. And what happens? It goes to the Supreme Court. I mean, and not only that, Shelby County, Alabama, one of the most racist places probably in our solar system. Okay?
Yeah.
In the world brings this case. They are the poster child for why we need a Voting Rights Act. And what happens? The Supreme Court guts the Voting Rights Act.
Yes, Jackie is telling you just right.
Be over with a feather.
She used to poo-poo that every time, and I talked about it.
Every time Brenda would bring it up, I would tell her she was being paranoid.
Yeah, Brenda, I said, and that's where we started the phrase, we may be paranoid, but that don't mean that shit ain't happening. And as Jackie used to laugh, and I talked about this all the time, y'all keep on, they're going to take away your rights to vote. And y'all keep on, and our right to vote already is not a law. Is it, Jackie? It was an amendment can be...
Listen, the Constitution, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which amendment it is to the Constitution, but there's an amendment to the Constitution somewhere around 14th, 15th Amendment, somewhere in there, that says the right of the people to vote shall not be abridged.
Okay. So
to me, that means that you cannot put any roadblock in front of the people to prevent them from voting.
Okay.
That's one of the things that kills me. Republicans, you should be able to carry guns anywhere, right?
Right.
But, you can't vote.
And see, you heard Jackie talk about it might be around the 14th or 15th Amendment, and she told you what it said and what it meant. Has that stopped them? How long has the Constitution been written? You know,
for a long time,
with a few amendments and changes.
When you start getting around the 14th Amendment, this is Civil War Amendment stuff.
And so that
amendments were passed around the Civil War time.
And how long was that in the Constitution, Jackie?
What?
That phrase, sentence that you just read.
Oh, it's been in the Constitution for over 100 years. It's like maybe about 150 years.
All right, y'all hear that? And so, how long ago were you still having to count jelly beans in a jar? So it didn't mean shit, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's been about, 50 years ago?
Yeah, and so here I go with my paranoia shit. I told y'all, and I talked about this all the time, and Jackie said, oh, Brenda, she used to say that to me all the time. And here we are in the midst of the biggest fight since that time.
Yeah, that's true.
Since 50 years ago.
Wasn't that the case that back in the 60s with the voter registration drives and stuff, where the federal government had to impose a certain amount of order on the states, right? Don't the states get the right to enforce a certain other votes? Federal votes are federal votes, apparently, but there are all kinds of other things you have to vote for that are kind of important too.
Absolutely. But that's one of the things, though, that could be done in the United States that is not, and that is that the federal government has the right to regulate federal elections. But our Congress is kind of lax with that, because generally whenever Congress has imposed something on federal elections, that just becomes election law.
Yeah.
Because it's too tough for local election officials to have one set of rules for local elections and another one for federal elections.
And Walt, you said in Canada everybody has the right to vote, right?
Well, I'm talking about Quebec because we have our own, I guess that's a topic for another day, but Canada is structured a lot different than the United States is. And, so like when you live in, we're not an independent country, but we're kind of sort of vaguely autonomous inside Canada. And the rules are a little bit different, maybe than they are in the rest of Canada. But here things are pretty decent, and we're also Quebec is the old French system. We're under kind of a hybrid civil law, so it's not the same as common law in the United States.
Well, tell us again, Walt, how you all are. You can vote after what? If you have a driver's license, you're already listed. What did you say? Something.
The way it goes now is that when you get, they usually send you a card at your house to tell you where you're going to vote. For example, in a provincial election or in a federal election or in a city election, and there's usually a thing written that a passport is acceptable, a driver's license, your health card, and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, your social security card or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but those are things that a lot of people will have. And
the health card everybody has. if you're a permanent resident or a citizen, which would mean you're gonna, you have the right to vote. You would have a health card. I mean, who would not have a health card?
Okay, and I hope.
Yeah, that's what you said to us when we were talking about.
And I hope
I couldn't know that if we had universal health care, this wouldn't be an issue. But
yeah, they have a photo on them,
and I hope
for obvious reasons.
I hope I'm saying his name right.
What is voter turnout like in Canada? When you guys have federal elections, when you have national elections, what is the turnout like?
Yeah, like how much did Rob Ford win by?
No, that's over in Toronto. That's not here.
Oh, okay.
We have different problems here, but it depends. Provincial elections, the turnout is fairly reasonable. We have a big problem here in terms of municipal elections, where very few people actually go out to vote. Federal elections are kind of in between, depending on who happens to be running and what the situation is, because we're under a parliamentary system here, just like Australia. So it's not a presidential system, right? It's a whole different ballpark.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, when I said that, so are we talking about 50%, 55%?
Yeah, probably on a good 50, 60, probably on a good good election.
Yeah, I think. Okay.
Well, I just want to.
Is Jillian still with us?
No, I lost her. Of course, she was out in beautiful countryside in her car, trying to.
She shouldn't be driving and doing this anyway.
Yeah, and so she lost us. She was sitting in her car, and she pulled up to the most beautiful blue skies and water and trees, and she got out, and it sounded like the squirrels were chasing her or something. And then I heard her go out. So, but let me say that I enjoy very much my panel. Jillian Anderson from Australia, Professor Walter Duval from Montreal, my beautiful niece and the niece of the Great Muddy Waters, Miss Jackie, Miss Uppity and Will Red, Jacqueline Lambert. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White, and we're going to say a little something before we say goodnight to you, Jackie. Anything funny you want to tell Jackie or Walt? Y'all got a story or something funny you want to tell?
Nothing very quick.
Go ahead, Walt.
No, I don't have anything very quick.
He said he didn't have anything very quick.
Yeah, because I was about to say I don't have anything ridiculous to
okay,
tell.
I will tell you one time the first time I ever encountered a black person.
Where was that, Walt?
I don't know. I think I was 2 or 3. My father told me. I'll tell you the story rapidly. I grew up. My mother died in childbirth, and I lived with my grandparents when I was young. And my father didn't live with us. He came. He got remarried when I was, I think, 8, and I moved in with them after, because my grandmother was already fairly old at that time. And so what used to happen was my father would come over to visit me, and we would take the bus downtown. This is in Syracuse, New York, right? And my grandparents were essentially Polish immigrants, and what would happen was, that will come into the story later, but what would happen was my father would take me downtown, and we'd kind of go and look in some store windows and do whatever in the evening, and we were coming home on the bus one evening, and so my father tells me this young black man gets up and rings the bell to get off the bus, and I yell to my father, "Look at the Jewish boy." My father turns like red. He told me, I felt really embarrassed, right? And
you are so silly.
And so my, the question is, why did I think that, that he was Jewish? All right, and the answer to that was because my grandmother, when she was younger, was a cleaning lady, and she cleaned offices and richer homes in the area and in office buildings, and she must have talked something about people being different from us and having money. So when I saw this guy who had a different color of skin, I figured, well, he must be one of them. Because I never saw him before, and I don't, so
did your father...
Sorry, my first encounter. So I guess that's reverse racism or something. I don't know.
Did your father tell you just silly?
No, that is a child with an incredibly logical mind.
Okay, Jackie.
You were brilliant from the time you were very little, Walt.
Well, I was also captured by the capitalist system, because they told me when I went to church with my grandma and people were singing in church, I started singing the commercial from the local dairy out loud.
Okay.
And everybody got embarrassed by that too, but
okay, Walt, you and your silliness.
You know why I am the way I am, I guess.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Jackie used to always have a political word for us that we probably had not heard of, and she would give us this word, spell it out, and give us the meaning, and that helped educate our audience. For instance, I didn't know the word plutocrat, and Jackie taught us, and our audience.
Not a plutocrat, it's plutocrat.
Oh, okay, plutocrat. Sorry, Jackie. Plutocrat. What did I?
Plutocrat could be somebody
Okay.
flutes.
Plutocrat. What did I say, Jackie?
I
What?
love it when she does that.
The vernacular of the vernacular.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Okay, wait, and let me ask you this. Is there such a thing as a plutocrat? Okay, I'm just mispronouncing the shit all the way around. There is no such thing as a plutocrat.
No.
Okay, so that my shit just it was just wrong. It was just wrong.
I gotta tell Walt this.
Okay.
Brenda.
Yes.
Stop it.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna tell.
Okay.
Well, a couple of weeks ago we were talking, and she called some guy a piranha, which she meant he was a pariah.
Yeah. And Jill and Jackie and I died. And Jackie said, "No, you mean pariah." Yeah, that. What Jackie said. Not the fish. Not. Hey, Walt, I was hollering. Not the fish. Not the fish. Not the fish.
Yeah, but see, she does this on purpose just to crack. I think, of course.
But Jackie, no, I really thought you said plutocrat. That wasn't on purpose. I was just stupid. That one I wasn't on purpose. I really thought you said plutocrat. Okay, but it's what is it, Jackie?
Plutocrat.
Plutocrat, not a plutocrat. Well, I'm sure glad you told me that before I got somewhere and got into a big conversation with somebody.
And obviously, I didn't do a very good job of explaining this on a previous show because you still did.
Hey, Jackie, so I won't be somewhere yelling out, "You plutocrats make me." Okay, Walt. So Jackie doesn't have one. I know you got one in your head. Give us a political word. Tell us the meaning. Something we probably haven't heard.
Oh, give me that next week. I can't think about that.
Man, I thought I had the two damn smartest people. I thought I had the two damn smartest people on damn Facebook, and here they need a week.
You know all the words that I know.
They need a week to think up a word. Man,
give me a week to think up a word.
Y'all better get back to reading. The way I be bragging on y'all.
Well, we gotta talk. You know, there are other things to talk about. I was gonna not now start it, but I thought Jackie might mention the thing that in California where they threw out the tenure thing for the teachers in the courts, right?
Oh, we'll have to talk about that.
Okay, and then Jackie,
I sent you an article about the Seychelles about tax havens.
Okay, well, Jackie,
I didn't see that, Walt. Did you?
I hope it got there. If it didn't, send me an email because there's a big article in the International Business Times about the Seychelles Islands and sort of in the British Virgin Islands and how this business where the various companies open these accounts and deposit money in various places, how all that works.
Okay, that sounds
really
interesting.
Like to read that. Okay.
Yeah, we would love that. Okay,
yeah,
Jackie.
Okay,
so
I definitely will, and if I didn't get it, I'll let you know.
Okay.
The estimate was, for example, in this article, there's something like $32 trillion out there.
Ooh, Lord.
Yeah, I know it's a lot.
Okay, Jackie, so do you have a story to tell the audience before we leave tonight?
No, Brenda, we're already 15 minutes over. Say goodnight.
Oh, well, you know, I was just going to, hey, like you on the show, so you could tell your story if you want to tell your story. Don't nobody care nothing about what they think about us being 15 minutes over.
Oh, bless her heart. It's your sweetie, but no.
Okay, y'all. So I'm going to teach y'all the word plutocrat. What's a plutocrat? I don't fucking know. And Walt doesn't know, and Jackie doesn't know. I just came up with some shit. Yeah, Jackie, that's a great. Hey, Jackie, you are like Don King, girl. Okay, so that's my word. And Jackie, you know what that fits? That fits right here at your mother's rental home. They have 4 beautiful homes here, and your mother rents in one of them. And I was here cleaning up the yard and all sorts of stuff the other day. I couldn't find the maintenance man. I don't know where he is. But I've been picking up, and every time it's storming here every day, and I'm picking up limbs and taking them. And then there are boxes and stuff that these people bring down, and they won't put them in the dumpster. They sit them on the ground, and then it rains on them, and who goes and gets them and put them up? And so these people that are dumping trash and shit, y'all are plutocrats.
There you go.
See?
There you go.
Look at me.
They used it in the sentence.
Ha ha! Ha ha! Sarah Palin ain't the only one can make up words. The vernacular of the vernacular. Okay, y'all. So, we are getting ready to say goodnight to you. We are so delighted that y'all join us tonight. Forgive me for being stupid, but you know that's my part of the show. And wait, and I just hooked my headphone in my eyeglasses. So, having said that, it is time to go. You have been listening to Let's Talk About It, Spreaker's #1 most informative political talk show. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White. Helping me to talk about it and always helping to keep you informed is the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert, a.k.a. Miss Uppity Speaks. Julian, I am woman, hear me roar from down under, who got cut off. Okay? But not to worry, she'll be back next week and joining the panel, and we're so glad that he did, Professor Walter Dubois out of Montreal, Canada. Okay, so y'all, don't forget, join me Thursday night for Up All Night with Brenda White. I know I've been gone 2 weeks, but I'm going to do the show this week, I promise you, live from Marianna, Arkansas, okay? And then Friday night, don't forget to join me for Nothing But the Blues, okay? Thursday night, 9 to 1, Up All Night with Brenda White. Friday night, 9 to midnight, Nothing But the Blues, okay? And then we'll see you back here next Tuesday night from 10 until midnight or until we stop talking, okay? You know how it goes, okay? All right, so here at Let's Talk About It, we believe injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And what else do we believe, Jackie?
Free your mind, honey, and your ass will follow along.
That's all we got to say about that, okay? All right. Free your mind, honey, and your ass, Jackie added something, and your ass will follow along. Well, I don't know where she made that up from, but that's okay. Anyway, I'm back, and we're gone. We'll see you next Tuesday night, okay? Thanks for joining us. We love you right here, and Let's Talk About It at Spreaker.com.
You're asking today, how long will it take? Somebody's asking, how long will prejudice blind the visions of men? I come to say to you this afternoon, however difficult the moment, however frustrating the hour, it will not be long, because truth crusher will rise again. How long? Not long, because no lie can live forever. How long? Not long, because you shall reap what you sow. How long? Not long. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yes, that scaffold sways the future. Behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. How long? Not long. Because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it's in short circle. How long? Not long. Because mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He's trampling out the village where the grapes of wrath are stored. He's loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, stand for him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. Glory, hallelujah.